It's the Real Spiel Live show here, September 1st, late night, back at it again. I'm your host, Roman Kelly, joined by my luxurious co-host, Will Wigington, KJ Fuller, and Trevor Kelsey. We've got a lot to react to. There's a lot going on in the weekend of sports. Still Happy Day weekend. And we got Bill Belichick now in the background of Will's screen there. But how are you all doing tonight? Will, we'll start with you. What's going on, my man? Is everything working?
I hear you for what it's worth.
Yeah.
I also hear the music still playing in the background. I didn't know if that was just the buzz I'm on or if I'm the only one doing that. We are live. I see us on Twitter. So
I can hear you loud and clear.
KJ can hear you. I can hear you. Will, do you not hear us, buddy?
I was wondering, can he not see us either?
Will's
Should
got,
we be able to
got
tell
that.
our lips are moving?
Yeah,
Will's still
got
got
that
the
look
countdown.
on his face. Yeah.
Will's still got the countdown on his screen. There he is. There's Will.
I don't know what was going on right there. Now, can you hear me?
We've got you now, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
I don't know what was going on right there, but glad to be
Well,
here.
welcome into the show. Welcome in Will
Thank
Wigington as well. This is the Real Spill Live show. As you know, nothing can be perfect. As we start, there has to be an issue or it wouldn't be Real Spill. I kind of like it that way. It makes things more fun, makes things more exciting. Thank you all so much for joining in already. We've already got about 44 of you in here, so appreciate you guys taking your time to listen to us late night as we are going to discuss all things Louisville Cardinals football and just the weekend of sports and a couple of other things before we also discuss the week ahead. So,
Cardinal
as I was
football,
saying,
by the way,
Will,
wasn't perfect either to start that to this weekend. So hey, we're just kind of part of the group.
we're just doing what we got to do here. Will, KJ, Trevor, I want to ask you guys, how was your all's weekends so far? How's your Labor Day been? Trevor, start with you since you got the new mic going, you got the new light going. Everything seems to be perfect in the Kelsey studios. So what's up, my man?
I got the I'm sporting the Reggie White today, 1991 jersey, Mitchell and Ness with the J. Babe Jerome Brown patch, as you can see right there, 99. Rest in peace, Jerome Brown. Maybe the most unheralded defensive tackle because of his death at a short age. Not Would have been awesome. It would be a Hall of Famer, but unfortunately, I also like to drive way too fast. But that's no here nor there. Weekend was great. It's like the last we did our last Sunday before the NFL. We had football all weekend. I mean, listen, for a shut-in nomad like me, like this is like the perfection of heaven. Like, I mean, I got wings delivered. I didn't leave the house. I didn't have to. I haven't put on pants since Friday. I mean, the TV's been going. The PlayStation's been on college football. I've got you guys to talk to. Louisville got a win. Kentucky look like shit, but that's okay. We won't talk about that. None of my bets won. I don't care because football is here. That's all that matters now. The boredom of the summer is gone, and football is here, and we are just as you like the image you put in the picture there, Roman. Let's just bring it in, people. Come on, children, come to us. Drink it in. It is football season.
Bring it in.
Glorious.
I'm not mad at that. I'm glad you are enjoying the weekend. Glad you've had the football back and been able to get to watching and analyzing and breaking down so these bets can start hitting going forward. Real Spiel bets are coming back at the start of NFL season, which will start off college football betting as well. We're going to make Trevor give out bets 2 nights a week, 2 days a week. He's going to have to get up early and read these slates. But, Trevor, that sounds like a good little weekend you've had there. KJ, how about you, my man?
It was good, man. It was pretty eventful. Went to the football game Saturday. I had a fantasy draft Sunday, and then Sunday evening I had a little cookout get together. So ate some good barbecue. But it's like Trevor said, been waiting on this for a long time. It was every time I looked up, it was football on my screen. So it's the best time of the year.
It's like 3 in the morning.
Having your draft. Yeah.
It didn't go the way I wanted. So I got Ashton Genty. I got Bijan Robinson. So I was picking second. I got Bijan, then I got Ashton Genty, then I got Chase Brown. So the running back room straight. But I think my best wide receiver is DK Metcalf. So I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm doing for that receiver room. I think week 1 right now I'm gonna start Jerry Jeudy and DK Metcalf. So not looking forward to that. Got some stuff to figure out there. But
Who's your quarterback?
Quarterback's Joe Burrow. So I did.
Okay, you're good.
And I got George Kittle at tight end. So I'm good.
You're good, man.
Yeah.
Roman, you weren't here when we did our fantasy show, but I kind of I practice what I preach a little bit, guys. Will and KJ, I did a draft. It's a little bit cheaper league. It's like $25 for the team, so I can be a little froggy with it. And I had the 12th pick, and I did kind of something I teased with us on our show is I went Brock Bowers and Trey McBride with back-to-back picks and went double tight end. I didn't plan on it. I also ended up having 2 rookie running backs and 2 rookie wide receivers in my starting lineup. My team name is the Epstein NFL Island Young Guns Edition. So I got a face palm from 2 out of 3. That's awesome. So I'm looking forward to, like I said, we practice what we preach here. I give out betting advice. I put money on those same games. I give out fantasy advice. I put my money where my mouth is. Even if it is only 20.
That's what we love about you. That's what we love about you, Trevor, and we're not going to ask you to stop. We want you to keep doing it. Will, how's your weekend been, my man? How's your Labor Day been?
Been pretty good. I went to the game as well on Saturday. Was planning on sitting in the north end zone, but my girlfriend, her boss, actually has a field level suite, and he invited us to watch the game there. So that was a cool experience. That was my first time being in the north end zone suites, and it's as cool as you'd expect. Literally, the only downside
some free food?
Yeah, no, had pizza, pretzels, chips, all the kind of stuff you'd expect in a suite with a couple different TVs to have different games on, which was nice. So the experience was awesome. Just it's a little tough, say, if the teams are down on the field farther away from you to be able to actually see. Like your depth perception is a little off. Down and distance is not really a thing. You're kind of just watching the plays happen. But 10 out of 10 experience. I absolutely loved it. And then I just watched a lot of football this weekend, helped a friend move. Then today, Rowan and I hit the golf course at Cherokee for a little 9 holes, and that was a good time. And now I'm watching Bill Belichick have a hell of a first game in college football. So, yeah.
Looks like he's struggling there. We did shoot 9 holes today. Got my first ever par. That felt really good. I didn't really shoot great outside of that. I mean, I had a couple holes that, well, it's one of those days where the fairway play, the build-up play was great, and then you get near the hole, the chipping and putting was
Oh.
not what I needed it to be.
That putt though to hit par, that was a beauty.
Yeah,
Right
that
on
one was
target.
that was
I
got
got
that
booted
one.
and it switched me and Will now.
That one was
Sorry
awesome.
about
But and I mean, what did I do? I also golfed yesterday. Well, I lowest ever score, but I only golfed 4 times, so it's not really anything. Pretty cool weekend. Obviously, I got to do my first media experience at the game in the booth up in the media section where you're sitting obviously with all the guys who cover the game professionally.
Quick question, Roman, because this is the only thing anyone ever in the media part of Louisville cares about. What did Center Plate serve for food?
They had, what did I have? They had some chicken Alfredo. They had this barbecue chicken as well, if you wanted that.
Yeah.
This massive salad bar. The halftime dessert. The halftime desserts. I didn't get one, but it was absurd. They had whatever you wanted to drink. It was awesome. It was great. The chicken Alfredo was very. I just had a salad and some chicken Alfredo. Very, very, very good. Really awesome to be able to do that. And it's different watching the game from up there. There's certain things you see. It's like I'm zoned in on the lines. I'm zoned in on the offensive and defensive lines pre-snap. And then you almost I struggle to pay attention to routes more so than I do on, like, when I did my rewatch on TV, all the flags, I could understand those more and see those more. But all like the completions and stuff, I was like, wow, that looked great from up in the box. It didn't really look that significant on TV, just a regular, rolling out to the right, basic kind of completions on some of those passes. I mean, it's still good distance and accurate throws, but throws that maybe because I'd already seen it, I didn't feel the need to celebrate watching it on the TV. But I'm like, in person, I was like, wow, Miller Moss is the real deal. But that's also just kind of the effect of seeing him in our offense for the very, very first time like that in that first half. Outside of that, though, weekend was great. Watching the game like that was awesome. Got to go see some people I knew as well. So what's up, Trevor?
I'll say, were you good about condoning your fanhood in the media room?
I slipped up once. The Isaac Brown touchdown, I almost stood up.
Which one?
The first one.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not allowed to cheer in the media room now. Don't be
that first touchdown. That first touchdown was, we're back. We're really, really back. The Colin Lacey punt return was also really hard not to, because that angle where he makes those first two cuts and makes those guys miss. Yep. I have the perfect view for that. Like, just to see, like, they're coming. He's going to have to deal with those two guys. Like, those kind of plays, I'm actually getting to see what's going to happen if it's going to be a successful play kind of early on, because you get a whole view. But just beautiful punt return. And I'm going to be the first to say this, hot take here. I don't care how beautiful that punt return was. Get him out of there. But before we do that, before we get into the punt return specifically, obviously we're going to talk all about this game. And fellas, naturally, I want to get our initial reactions, thoughts, maybe some bold takes going forward based on these games, and just some key takeaways here. We'll start with KJ. We'll go Trevor after that. Then I'll go myself, and then Will. We'll finish up with you, obviously, because you've got some major key takeaways that you're going to be writing about. So we'll kind of react to yours as well on a bit of a branch off. But KJ, key takeaways, main points. I mean, I don't know if you did a rewatch yet, but
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I did come back and do I kind of checked out a little bit like down the stretch at third and fourth, but I did watch the first half again. And
Yeah.
I think my main takeaway was, and my favorite part, all of the weapons. Like, it delivered. Everything we heard about, just all these weapons we have access to, they all delivered. Everybody got their moment. AJ Bell, Colin Lacey's punt return, Duke Watson with the overhead catch, Isaac Brown's touchdowns. Everybody got their moment in terms of these weapon room. I would have liked to have seen a little bit better of a performance from Miller Moss. I'm kind of nitpicking, though, because I wasn't that high on him anyway. But, that was a genuinely really bad pass, that pick six. Second one obviously wasn't his fault, but I do get a little concerned when this guy's main concern was turnovers. And first game, he's got 2 of them. But I think the offense is going to be as advertised. It's going to be amazing. And the defense, I would have liked less penalties, obviously. I think we all would have. But they looked like they executed well. They looked like it was well coached, at least from what you can take from a game against competition like EKU. But we look really good, and I think that's the important thing.
Trevor, what do you think? Actually, before we go into that, does anybody want to react to what KG just said? I'll say I wanted to see the weapons on display. We saw them. I'm right there with you. Great point there. Really, really good to see him like multiple targets to 7 different receivers in that first half, I believe, maybe 8. So that was awesome to see as well. But Trevor, go ahead.
No, I will kind of reiterate a little bit what KJ said, because I mean, it is honestly, this is a game that I wish I could spend my entire time here asking you more about that chicken Alfredo in the media room with the way we should have handled EKU. But unfortunately, there are things in the game that are going to prevent me from doing that. I still want to know more about it. I do. I honestly do. But before we do that, yeah, like KJ kind of pointed out, and I'm sure we'll reiterate, and you can as well, that the Moss interceptions, it does sting that the UK Vince Tito, whatever his name is, L's down guy, got both of them. That was kind of a kick in the balls a little bit as a Louisville fan. I didn't want to see that. I didn't know
Tisdale, what was his name? Tisdale?
Vito Tisdale.
I honestly, I'm more amazed he's not in jail, let alone has eligibility left. But that's not here or there. So but like KJ said, the first one was a little overthrown, maybe not too bad. Second one it wasn't his fault.
No, don't do that. Don't let him off the hook on that first one, Trevor. That first one was bad.
It was bad.
The second one wasn't his fault. No,
I rewatched the second one. It was actually one of the freakiest, like, no,
it was a college football video.
No
game
way that just happened. Type of like.
I mean, it reminded me of Antonio Freeman touchdown Monday Night Football. Might be outdating you guys, but that was a famous play where former Louisville native Chris Dishman kicked the ball up in the air and Freeman caught it and he ran it back for a touchdown. So I mean, we've seen kind of crappy like that. That's out of his. He probably maybe shouldn't have thrown the ball to begin with because the guy wasn't really that open anyway, but. You can't really blame him too much. And the first one, we can agree to disagree on how maybe much it was Miller Moss's fault. Point is, it still was a pick. Still was maybe a throw he shouldn't have made. That mixed with the penalties, and the penalties, that what irritated me about the penalties were the ones that were on our defense for holding. When I'm sorry, no offense to EKU and their athletes and their kids. I'm sure they're great. Listen, they can all whoop the shit out of me and beat me in a race anywhere. But there's no excuse Louisville at any level, first or second string, should have to be holding an EKU defender or a wide receiver on any position. I mean, there's no excuse whatsoever. So the amount of those, I know Braun was a little more positive in the post game than probably maybe he was in the locker room, I'm sure. But that mixed with the fact that, listen, you were talking about bad throw. Brady Allen tells me that we cannot lose Miller Moss. That dude sucks. The throw he made for the interception was ridiculously stupid. And it shows that our gap between first and second string right now is very, very big to me. And that does concern me because obviously anything can happen with injuries. Outside that, the line dominated the way it should be. Isaac Brown dominated the way he should. I had flashbacks of how good we could have been last year with a healthy Lacey and a healthy Brooks because Lacey is just that good, I think. The punt return gave me chills because I love seeing special teams touchdowns. Can't remember last time we had a good one. Whether it be a punt or a kick. Outside that, yeah, I mean, we didn't cover, which fuck me, but Louisville kind of handled the business the way they should. From an outsider's view, it looked like your typical domination of a Division II school. When you break it down, I think there are reasons to have some concerns, but I also want to give an excuse and say that maybe we held back a little bit with JMU in a short week. There's reasons to do that, and there's reasons why maybe we didn't want to be too aggressive. And that's a good reason to be. So
you're right.
Other than that, I'm okay. A win's a win, and it's all said and done. So
yeah, the first half penalties, I couldn't understand that. It felt like every single time the penalties were occurring in a position where it wasn't. You didn't need that to happen. Like you weren't going to change the play and impact the play. A couple other penalties kind of just were a bit of a toss up and were hard to go that way. Are we getting a?
Yeah, I was gonna say I hear a bad echo.
Let me make
I
sure
haven't touched the thing.
Shouldn't be me.
No, it's not.
I mean, I don't know. When we break up the penalties, I don't know if you still the echo, but I can't diagnose all 12 penalties where they were. I know the Chris Bell penalty was kind of a weird one. It's the defensive penalties and anything holding on defense and defensive pass interference that would bug me because again, there's no excuse for him. You
But
shouldn't.
that's what it says. Like the block in the back on the return doesn't need to be happening. None of those need to be happening against DKU. They're all unacceptable. If I really say so, if I really have to say so. Outside of that, though, I thought
Trevor, I do think the echo is coming from you because it wasn't there when you were talking just a second ago.
Shout out to the one viewer on Twitch and the one viewer on YouTube. Love you guys.
Shout out to anybody.
The 475 of you on X. Really appreciate you guys as well. Trevor, yeah, something's happening over there.
It's like we can hear whatever you're hearing
not
is
a normal
coming back
statement.
out.
Yeah.
What I do?
Maybe try muting yourself.
What happens when you mute yourself, Trevor?
Okay. There's nothing. So I think
change your mic. Make sure you just change your mic output, Trev, to the mic the mic you have plugged in. God,
that's what
right now.
I did. I just unmuted myself. I am on the mic right here that I have. I'm set up to it. I didn't press anything. I haven't changed anything. I don't know why it started doing that. Is it still doing it?
KJ and Will, you talk.
It's still there.
Yeah.
I would say that the only thing is, Trevor, just mute yourself when you're not talking, and then when you do, just come back on. That might be the only solution.
Now, if that does not give me a flashback to radio, nothing will. I mean, I'm here with no pants on and only a shirt, and I'm gonna mute myself when I'm not talking because so I can do other. Thank you, Will. If there wasn't a camera on me, I'd be half mast right now. Actually, I am a little bit. All right, go on. Who wants to talk next?
But yeah, that's really it for me. I thought the receivers looked good. I mean, the second interception, I watched it 4 or 5 times in a row in my rewatch. Miller Moss threw a dime right there. Absolute dime. He put that to one place that Antonio Meeks could catch it, and he did. He just didn't come down with it fully. I feel like that's fully on Meeks. You've got to come down with that. You make the catch. You feel it in your hands. Come down. And the way he tried, but the ball didn't, come out the way he needed to before he would have been signaled as down. So that's just tough there for Miller Moss. I feel like Isaac Brown did exactly what we would have wanted to do. And if I'm crazy, fellas, let me know. But he looked even faster. Did he look even just a little bit faster than he did last year?
Yeah.
Like the quickness is just a tier up.
It's EKU. Let's keep that in mind.
I get it. I know. But Duke struggled to find lanes in the running game. He didn't get a whole lot of options. I thought Keywan looked great. I really wish Keywan could have got that touchdown pass, but it got called back because of another hold, I believe. So
yeah,
the holding was on both sides of the ball, and it we should have been up even more, I feel like, before the starters got pulled. But that's about it for me. That pass to Holloway that's not going to lead to a lot of yards, like then you need to put that in his numbers or throw that out. Like that needs to be caught for him to react immediately and not have to do anything on the catch because you're both not being bothered there. Like no one's in either one of your face. If you catch that with him having to even go back, that's not even a good good pass. So he put that where he was never going to be able to make a play. Even if he did bring that down from there, he wasn't going to be able to react in time to make a play. That needs to be a perfect pass or get rid of it and throw it out.
My question, real quick question. You mentioned this and it makes me wonder. Your opinions. I'm indifferent. Did you think that Braun pulled the Miller and some of the starters too early, basically after one half of football? I mean, I don't think the offensive starters played the second half. I've watched the game twice too, and
no, they got pulled with like 14, like a minute.
Yeah, it was pretty much I didn't notice how much defense the starters stayed in, but post and maybe the offensive lineman stayed in. I didn't notice as much as well, but primarily we're talking quarterback and running backs and stuff like that, and skill positions. They all were pulled right basically after the first half. Too soon? Did Brom, not to sound too perverted, did he pull out too soon?
Not really, because we have 41 points.
It was
at halftime. I think it was 41.
Yeah.
It was 41-7 at halftime.
Yeah.
And
But I mean, there's question marks. Obviously, the way that Moss, we have question marks. At least the way he played in the first half. Do you think it was just kind of?
I think they concluded that the interception was nothing on Moss. It was actually a perfect pass. And it felt rewatching it on the TV. That was my initial reaction in my rewatch. Was like that this feels early. 41 points, 41-7 is not too early.
I thought it was, to be honest.
Go ahead, Will, into all your takeaways though as well. Answer that.
Well, sure. I mean, that wasn't really part of it, but I don't know. It's just only having a 34-point lead only, but still, you would think that you'd want to have a little bit more time to knock off the rust. I mean, Duke Watson only got 2 carries. Isaac Brown only got 6 carries. Miller Moss only played 1 half. So it's just, yeah, Jeff Brom's logic of keeping everybody healthy is sound logic, but now we're going to come into James Madison, maybe not be as fresh as we should be against a team that's going to be pretty good, and they're legit. So hopefully that the half that they did play would be enough for them to actually get into the flow of the season. But we'll see.
Anthony Eason in the comments says, no, he didn't pull them too early. Bigger fish to fry. What do you think of that, KJ?
I agree. I think, I mean, I agree with you, Will. That's a good point. I think Duke maybe could have used a couple more carries, but I mean, I saw what I needed to see from the offense. They're ready. They're ready to execute. They're ready to go out there and hang what they need to on James Madison. I didn't need to see anything else from them for 2 more quarters, so I think it's perfectly fine. I got the answers I was looking for.
Yeah. It's not like I wasn't necessarily mad
Yeah.
that they got pulled. I was just a bit surprised and think that they could have used more reps. But at the end of the day, I trust Jeff to do what's best for the team, so no issues.
What about your takeaways from the game, Will? You said you had some key takeaways you were kind of writing up for the website. Go ahead and let the listeners know about the website as well. If you're going to be able to find this article tomorrow, I think you said. But and then
Yeah.
what the key kind of don't give out too many article details, but just what they got make them go read it too. But
so before you get started, I can't help but notice. I know that North Carolina is getting all the love of ESPN, but they just got beat 48-14. Why the fuck are we having Belichick on SVP after the game? Like, shouldn't we have Sonny Dykes on the game on this?
Well,
I think this makes
they're probably just going into his post-game press conference. They're probably not going to have an actual.
Okay. Maybe I read that wrong. Okay, I was like, come on. I know ESPN loves when they find their darling, they will suck its ass and give it to you down your throat. And that's been North Carolina all day and all weekend. But I mean, come on. I mean, geez.
Anthony says you would think different if we sustained an injury. Probably right.
Well, that's
I don't know. I mean, it's football, I guess, but
like if that injury would have happened in like the next 2 snaps,
Yeah.
like we would have been.
Am I the one not hearing him right?
They shouldn't have been. They shouldn't have been out.
Yeah.
Should have been out there. You hear me right, guys?
I hear you.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Trevor, you got some stuff going on over there, man. We've got a comment down in the Twitch from Hollow Worst EDVXI says best viewers on streamboo.com. Remove the space.
That's a bot.
I like the bot comments. Shout out to you, Hollow Worsted VXI. I appreciate that. Shout out to you there in the comments.
I'm the space they want to remove, by the way.
All right, Will, let us know.
Right. Yeah, sure. So I'll just
wait. If anybody, I don't know if you guys know, we've got a live chat here on the X. Get in on this. We'll show your comments. If a bunch start coming in, we'll just display it on the screen all at once. And we'll discuss what you guys comment as well. If you guys have any specific questions about what you saw, but go ahead, Will. Key takeaways.
Sure. So I'll just talk about 3 of the 5 that I'll post tomorrow on the LouisvillePost.com. You'll find a link to the article on my Twitter. I'll post that as soon as the article is published. But the first of the 3 that I want to talk about is Caleb Lubin. I think that he's going to be the perfect replacement for Ashton Gelati. I know we talked about on Real Spiel in the past how there was talk that Caleb Lubin was in a position battle with AJ Green on the edge, and it looks like that's not really going to be a problem. I think they used him at the same time on several different occasions. So if we have both of them and they're our 2 best pass rushers, that's great. But Caleb Lubin, I mean, his stats, they're not outrageous or anything like that. He had 4 total tackles, 2 sacks, which are both TFLs, and that was about it. But just his get-off speed is incredibly fast. I think the 2 sacks he got were just 2 speed rushes around the tackle, but even if that was a power conference level tackle that he was going against, he was still getting around them. That pass rush it kind of looked like, I don't know if you all remember Mike Green, who was just drafted in the second round by Baltimore. He's from Marshall.
Yeah.
The reps he had in the Senior Bowl, that one viral clip of him destroying, I think it was Ohio State's tackle that got drafted, but that's the kind of build he has, and then the get off speed that he does to bend the corner and still just lay out the quarterback. I mean, he's got incredible get off, and we know that he has a deeper bag besides just a regular speed rush because he had 9.5 sacks last year for Coastal and was one of the best pass rushers in the portal. So obviously it is just week one. I don't want to get my hopes up because I don't know if you guys remember last year in the first 2 games, Tramel Logan looked like Jesus Christ coming off the edge, and the rest of the season he was kind of a no-show. Didn't really do anything at all. So I don't think that's going to be the
Lost
case.
the spot.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't think that's going to be the case with Clef Lupin because he is legit. He was one of our biggest impact transfers in the portal. So I would expect him to be our best defensive player going forward. The second thing is that Louisville, I mean, Trevor alluded to it a minute ago, but Louisville's depth and their discipline in general, I think, will be an issue this season. Depth on the offensive line is one thing that I talked about. We didn't have Trevante Sylvester, and the first couple of drives of the game, it didn't feel like the offensive line was really opening up holes for the running backs to get through. I know Isaac Brown had 2 really long rushes, and he had one for about 20 yards besides that, which is obviously
he got
long,
stuffed on all the other ones.
Yeah, Keywan, he ran decently well. But like we said, Duke Watson only had 2 carries for 1 yard apiece. Colin Lacey on a jet sweep got 0 yards. Actually, he was tackled 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So for an FCS team, I didn't feel like the offensive line, at least in the run blocking, was as good as they should have been. Pass blocking, they did pretty well. So I'm not really going to complain about that. But I don't think they played terrible. It's just that when you're playing against an FCS opponent, I think you should average better than, I think it was 8.5 yards per carry, which – on paper, that's great. You would lead the country in yards per carry if that's what you got every game, but that's not going to be anywhere near realistic against top-level competition we're playing against. And then the last one I'll bring up.
I got a hot take reaction to that there though. To the O-line. I do think that might be some first game stuff. Like when you know that the run game's such a priority, you probably have put such an emphasis on certain plays. This side, you do this, you do that. Certain plays, this side, you do this, you do that. I want to say that like you're fully right that it actually, I think it looked bad. I thought the run blocking was bad. But at the same time, I do think that it created the holes on certain plays. Gap wasn't always found. And I do think that there had to be some kind of like first game jitters, at least with the priority on what the offensive line probably had to have been doing. And I know that that's probably a soft, lame take for like saying that, oh, you're just going to blame first game jitters on the offensive line not being able to create holes for the. Yeah, I think that, we watched the offensive line progress almost every game last season. And I think that they'll take what they've got from the tape there and they'll fix that and they'll figure out who needs to be in at certain times. I think there's a little bit of movement on the offensive line as well, which you kind of surprised me a bit. But I agree with you. But I do think that we'll see. There's reason to believe we should see an improvement from there.
Yeah, and then the 12 penalties is honestly unacceptable. I don't care if it's the first game of the season or the last one. I don't care if it's holding penalties on special teams or Chris Bell talking shit to the opposing team on the sideline and getting unsportsmanlike conduct when it should have been a late hit, honestly, and they didn't get that for him, but whatever. 12 penalties is still 12 penalties. I don't care. And
physically,
I know Jeff Brom,
do you think he physically did enough to warrant a penalty if he didn't say anything?
He didn't do anything. He just said something and the refs threw the flag. He didn't touch anybody at all. He got up, walked past him. You saw him turn his head a little bit and talk some shit. And he must have said something that warranted a flag, but still, I think it was pretty weak. Should have been a late hit.
The only thing I can think of that is that there had been a play or something before, maybe a couple plays before, where there was some words chatting between them two or something. The ref told him to cut it out, and like you said, Bell had to just that look, and the ref was like, "Hey, now it took that as a taunting, maybe."
Yeah,
that was the only thing I can think of when I watched it because I agreed. I rewound it and was like. He didn't even touch the guy. He didn't even, he just kind of gave him that look down. And if he said something, he may have said something. He didn't get picked up. But either A, had been something he said that we didn't hear, which could have been anything. Or B, it had been stemmed from they were maybe chatting and being physical earlier in some plays and maybe we just didn't notice it. And then that was just kind of sum of it all. That's the only thing I can go, because otherwise that penalty made no sense whatsoever. I mean,
Yeah, it was crazy.
Fellas,
referee do
I
something.
want to ask KJ. We'll start with you.
Mm.
There's that echo again. Or now it just went away. It seems. What
He
is the
moved.
deal with
He
all
was
those
moved,
penalties when we knew that was an issue last year? Like, surely getting things right at the line of scrimmage, understanding things pre-snap, and then the holding stuff against, like Trevor said, athletes that are, I hate to put it like this, lesser than what you went up against in fall camp.
Yeah.
What's the deal there? Like, what is going on when you got that many penalties in the first half of a football game?
I mean, who knows? I don't think there's a good news explanation for it. I know there's not. I guess maybe best case scenarios, you say these guys were just overlooking EKU a little bit, thought they could just cruise in and thinking about James Madison, but it's a bad look, and it's inexplicable considering, as you said, Roman, this was obviously a point of emphasis because this was a problem the previous year. I don't know what to say to that other than, I mean, this needs to be fixed. It has to get fixed.
Will?
It's
Yeah.
I want to say something before you jump in. I want to say this real quick. Like we're kind of being the negatives a little bit. I think. Like, let's be positive now. Let's do kind of like the cancel the therapy I did with one of the ex-girlfriends. Say something. Let's only say something positive now about what we saw in the game. And for example, I'll start with something Will brought up, the Coastal Carolina transfer. Especially the first 2 sacks he had, where he just, blew past that poor EKU kid. I mean, I almost wanted to send that kid like a fruit basket or something. I felt bad for him. It reminded me of when, I think, was it last year or the year before, when Rager did the play on Notre Dame and just completely boomed right past that kid, ended up being a first-round pick.
Yeah, the year
where Notre
before.
Dame just abused him. Was it 2? Okay, I can't remember now. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. You're right, yeah. And just, that reminded me of that play right there. Plus, if you saw what Coastal Carolina, what happened to them this weekend, clearly that kid's an impact player because they got destroyed by Virginia, and Virginia just scored all over them. So they obviously could have used him back this year. I know you know that, Will, because you told us to take Coastal Carolina. Don't worry, I'm not making fun of you for it because all my bets look like shit too, but that's no here nor there. That's one positive. And you know what? It's a win, and it's kind of like the poster said in there a second ago about the injury. It's a win, and no one got hurt. I mean, we walk away with no injuries. We walk away with a victory, and we walk away seeing Isaac Brown in only 6 carries do look like Isaac Brown that we expected. The rest of the stuff can be put aside because that'd be negative. But outside that, that's positive. That's being positive right now. I only want to hear positive right now. No,
I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, the positives were the only expectation in a game like this. The expectation was minimal negatives, and when you've got that many, we got to make sure it's not something we need to be overly worried about, right, going forward. Because the expectation was you fix your issues if you know you had them last year. If new issues occur, cool. It might take a couple games within a season to work them out, like your quarterback not being what he thought he was or something like that, right? This kind of stuff, especially coming from a handful of guys who have been in the program, it's unacceptable. But, I mean, the penalty specifically, right, that negative is something that has to be pinpointed. We do need to highlight the positives, though. Colin Lacey, I had the hot take on the radio. I don't know if I mentioned it on here. I think I also mentioned it on a different radio show, Dalton Pence. He will have the most all-purpose yards in the ACC if they let him keep returning shit like that. Fellas, he's different out there.
I agree.
Yeah, and that's one takeaway that I had in the article is that overall the wide receiver group would elevate the ceiling, but Colin Lacey in specific is the key to that because you can use him in so many different ways. I know he only got one carry, and it was a TFL for rushing last game, but we didn't really. It's against EKU. You're not going to experiment much in terms of opening up the playbook. So he was kind of mainly his role was, besides special teams, was running quick outs. I know he had the 32-yard reception on that 3rd and 19 completion. It was a dime.
He had the one jet
over
sweep.
the middle.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
He had the jet sweep too. I was saying it was not a run play, but he came coming in the backfield in motion and starting his play back there. It's just how creative Jeff's going to be even in game 1. If they're doing stuff like that, that's a sign of it.
Yeah, and when teams are playing man-to-man against us, it's going to be a real challenge because you can put him in motion, you can have him even orbit behind the quarterback if we play out the pistol right there, and it's just it's weird because he's a gadget player, but he's also a number one receiver level player. So he's the kind of guy where you just have to account for him man to man no matter what. But when you can use him in a variety of different ways, that means the defense, they're going to have to worry about keeping their eyes on him everywhere he goes around the field. And that can be used to our advantage every single drive, just because we have one of the best running back groups in the country. We already have Chris Bell at tight end. Jaleel Skinner, I know he didn't have too many receptions, but I thought he looked pretty good. He was great at blocking. He had one great reception. There's just a lot of weapons is the bottom line.
Jaleel Skinner looked really, really good. KJ, any specific players? I mean, unless there's another point on Claude Lacey specifically, but any other standouts player-wise?
I mean, I'm kind of ready to go there with Isaac Brown in terms of I think this is genuinely one of the best players in the country playing the sport of college football right now. It genuinely feels like we have one of those superpower game-breaking type guys. I mean, that's how I feel about him right now. So I think that's kind of my pinpoint. I think we have a guy who genuinely can flip games on their head. I mean, clearly he can, just with a couple steps, with one right block. That's what I'm most excited about. Is I think we're really about to just have a season of watching a guy who just can completely transform games by himself.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, see, but it's not so hard being positive, gentlemen.
You're right. You're right.
There's reasons to be negative. And even Anthony over in the text, if you want to put it on the screen, says, his positive is the defense wasn't scrambling and lined up the majority of the time. Hey, I didn't say you had to couldn't be sarcastic. I didn't say you couldn't be sarcastically positive. I just said positive, and I appreciate good sarcasm at any point in time in my life. So I'll accept that. I don't want to point out the fact that I thought we were giving away our blitzes way too easily, so that would be too negative to say. So I'll leave that. I'll put away. But see, positive things, guys. The positive, and you know what else is positive? We won the game, and it's all over. Week 1 is behind us, at least for Louisville. And
we didn't cover, Trevor.
And now kind of look at maybe JMU, but we'll talk about JMU in a second because they played this weekend as well. Guys, the first week in college football I know we had week 0, but this was the first real week. What was some of the things that stuck out to you, both positive and negative? You can be both in this way. I'll let you switch hit. And more importantly, was there a game that a team? Did you see a score of a team that you walked away and I was completely already after week 1 completely wrong about them? I'll just start because I'll mute myself. FAU got raped at Maryland. I thought they would show up more life. Clearly, I didn't see the game, but Maryland just, beat the shit out of them. And poor Zach Kitty, maybe we should have stayed at Texas Tech. I don't know. That did not work out well for me. Second, it surprised me. Florida State winning. I've been a big Ken DeBeer fan. I was a huge fan of his at my IU. I was a fan of his getting all the way to the Alabama job. He's looking kind of like that. I don't want to say a Shula at Alabama, but what was the Mike Price, the guy that got fired there right before he even started because he went to the strip club and tried to use his Roll Tide stuff to did favors with the girls. I don't know if you remember that. It's a Sports Illustrated article. He got fired before he even coached there. It's kind of like his path's going towards that way. I did not see that coming because Florida State, I think, still sucks. And also, there wasn't a really good upset this week. We didn't get that. Did we? Maybe I'm brain farting on it. We almost had K-State. Well, that'd be the one, yeah. Like a small school upset. Like we almost had K-State get beat by South Dakota, which is, I believe, where that coach came from. And I like that coach, too. I don't know what the hell's going on this year with them. I can only assume they're still jet lagged from propeller lag from the Dublin trip, but they looked like total shit in that game. I was kind of upset maybe we didn't get that, but short of that, yeah, I was wrong on a couple of games. Florida dominated. Yeah, but South Florida doesn't count as a small school. I'm talking small school, Coastal Carolina knocking off Virginia or something, even that shouldn't have. So I don't know, maybe guys, what about this weekend stuck out to you? Did you have a game that you picked and you want to brag about a little bit? Because I have none. All my bets were completely and utterly wrong in every way possible. So, and I didn't know who to root for in Clemson and LSU because that's one of those games where I hate them both so much. I want to see a tie. We don't see those anymore.
Go ahead, I'll go first just because.
I'll go first because.
Okay. just because there's one last thing from the EKU game I wanted to touch on, and this will help with Trevor's positivity, because everybody was talking about Miller Moss, and I wanted to say I think he's the real deal. I was a bit apprehensive about him coming into the season in terms of not only how are we going to use him, but how effective he's going to be in this offense, because I don't think that his arm is nearly to the level that Tyler Shucks was last year. It's in between Jack Plummer and Tyler Shuck. And I came away pretty impressed with him. That one bad pass he had to the flat that got picked off, that's, it happens. It was kind of a fluke pick six anyways. Obviously, you don't want that to happen in general. And then the second pick was, like we said, not on him in the slightest. But I think this game, too, not really many people are talking about it, that Jeff Brom really tried to prove his worth as well, because he only played in the first half. And against an FCS opponent, he threw 25 passes in the first half. You don't really see that.
That was a surprise.
We had 28 rushes for the entire game.
They started load the box up a lot, and I think it kind of became like Miller's decision on a lot of them in the second quarter. But you're right. Like, we threw the ball way more than I thought we would.
We did. I mean, the first play of the game was.
But that's got to stem to having a short week with JMU coming up. I can't help but think, right?
Not necessarily, because you would think if you're just trying to get out of Dodge, you just want to run the ball and run the clock out. We were trying to have him establish the passing game, and I think that was Jeff trying to send a message to the fan base that, hey, we have the right guy. And I thought he performed well. The ball came out, like I said, besides that one bad pass, on time, on target. That 3rd and 19 conversion to Colin Lacey was a bomb down the middle. That rollout.
He had a perfect conversion to Meeks before the 3rd and 19 on third down.
Right, and they got called
before
back.
The flag. Yeah,
exactly. The rollout to
Duke,
throwing the ball down the sideline to Duke Watson, that was right in front of my face. That was a fucking dot. I mean, it was the perfect ball.
He had to throw to Meeks, and this is major nitpicking. He had to throw to Meeks that he put it in where Meeks could catch it, but it was into double cover. Like, Meeks wasn't going to ever come down with that, where Tyler was rolling out to the right, and he had Colin in the flat. That could have been just like a quick catch and fall down for 4 or 5 yards. I feel like he kind of set Meeks up for failure in that one pass. But Skinner impressed me. Skinner after the catch impressed me. I feel like he's got a little bit more nimble, and he looks even a little bit better. So
yeah, but it's
good point there, Will.
He went 17 of 25. I thought the first drive of the game was pretty bad. It took us a decent amount of time to move down the field and get that first touchdown against an FCS opponent, but I mean, it's the first drive of the season. But Moss is wheeling and dealing, even in the plays, because what everybody said coming into the year is that they want to see how he acts or how he plays when he's uncomfortable. And there were a couple times where he was, and I don't feel like he made the improper decision once. He made a bad throw that was a pick six, but I don't think he made a poor decision that you would say, why the hell did you even think to make that throw? So I do think that he looks really good. I do think that he can elevate this offense to be what it needs to be and keep defenses accountable against the run, because if they do stack the box, we know that we can air raid the hell out of them down the entire field. Then you have balance. Then you have one of the top 10 offenses in the country. The only thing that'll hold us back, like we've said, is potential depth issues. But even at receiver, I hope Chris Hughes actually becomes the third wide receiver by the end of the season. He's a sure-handed guy. He runs routes well. He gets open. And he's tough as shit for being a small guy, and he's local. I think he's better than Antonio Meeks. Obviously, we didn't see much of Dakari Collins or Trayshawn Hurry, so I don't really want to say too much there.
Dakari had a hold.
Yeah, and Trayshawn, I think, had 1 reception for 9 yards in the first half, which, whatever. But Chris Hughes, I think he had 3 receptions for 50 yards. He just looked good. And yeah, he's stocky, he's short. He could be – obviously, I don't think he'll be a slot receiver because that's what you want Colin to be. But, yeah, I think this offense has a lot of weapons, and I'm not going to be worried about Miller bringing it down. More so, I'd just be worried about overall discipline in the offense. We were bottom 40 in the country in penalties per game last season. 12 penalties to start the year is obviously not great. So we'll see what happens there. But people that are worried about Moss just because they saw the box score shouldn't be, I don't think.
No, I thought Moss looked good. One thing, Will, I want to see how that kind of game, when the defense is stacking up like that, translate into a more athletic defense where you're the secondary and the linebackers. Some of the guys are going to be guys that are a little bit more ready for what's going to be happening.
Sure, definitely.
I'm not calling him the real deal, but I do want to see if he can play like that against Pitt, Virginia, then you start showing me that it's serious. You know what I mean? So,
Sure.
kind of not saying prove it till I see it, but build on this against JMU, build on this against Bowling Green, and then if you can go out against those teams that go and sell the run, if you can go control the game like he just did, then we should have no reason to put points up against anybody.
The only thing I'll say about that, and then I'll just shut up and let you guys talk about the other college football stuff, and we'll get into that. But even a guy like Jack Plummer, our offense is good that season, but he just missed a lot of players. I don't care if they were wide open or not. He was off with his timing. He had a noodle arm, so he couldn't push the ball down the field, and he just whiffed on a lot of throws. Miller didn't show any of those deficiencies. I don't care if it's against the FCS school or against Georgia Tech like Jack Plummer opened up with in 2023. The fact of the matter was, in 2023, in that first game, there were a lot of wide open receivers that he just couldn't hit. Miller Moss can hit those guys. So even if he's not electric or doesn't have a cannon of an arm like Tyler Shuck, he's going to make the offense as good as it should be. So we'll see how that translates to big-time opponents, like you mentioned. I mean, he could fall flat on his face and not be entirely wrong. But I just think from what I saw from a mechanical standpoint and being able to read the defense and make the plays.
Yeah, decision-making, yeah.
He was better than I thought he would be. So that's a good sign.
I'm with you. I'm with you there. I have to agree. Will, though, it was your turn.
One more I forgot. Before you guys get into your list, I did forget one more game that did stick out to me because I was completely wrong about it. And I just want to bitch about him. And Will knows this because we talked about it in the text thread. Nebraska. I'm sorry. If you're a Nebraska football fan, you cannot be happy with Matt Rule. I mean, you just barely beat a Scott Satterfield Cincinnati team. Which, by the way, again, thank you, Cincinnati, for taking that from us. That is just, I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, Nebraska, for what the funds they have and the athletes, I mean, that is just the sign of just a bad coach. And Matt Rule now is coaching the way he looks, like a total douchebag. And it's that if you do not let him go as soon as you can, I think Will brought up in our text a little behind the curtain thing. You know, they got a new offensive coordinator. I've been down that road. I see Matt Rule do that road. He blames offensive coordinators like I eat peanuts. Okay, he does it on a regular basis, and I'm done with it. I tried to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because the Panther situation was a clusterfuck, and he had his Baylor and he had his Temple time. But like DeBoer, I may have been just completely wrong on this one. He has no business at this level of college football. And Nebraska, if you don't get rid of him now, pull that Band-Aid, you're just looking for another few more years of misery before you get back to the glory days of the 80s, 70s, and 90s. Because he's not the answer. He's not. You're not going to – year 3, you got this awesome supposedly quarterback who's a little overrated, I think, maybe. You got the athletes. You got 110,000 people in Kansas City cheering. You can barely beat Scott Satterfield in fucking Cincinnati. I mean, come on, dude. They should have fired him before they left the fucking town. That's all.
KJ, Will, any teams impress you this week? I mean, before I like ACC specific, if you have one in the ACC, start with one of those potentially. But who impressed you, KJ?
Miami looks like this might actually be the year they all get it together. And I think the thing that impressed me the most and will concern me about when we go there is that O-line looked as good as advertised. I don't think I'd ever seen Carson Beck impress me the way he did Saturday. He looked pretty amazing to me. And that O-line looked like the real deal.
That's his thing.
I think Miami might be really good.
When Beck has a good O-line or time, I should say, when he's going up against a bad defensive line, not bad, but when his O-line gives him time, he looks like an elite quarterback. When his O-line doesn't give him time, he looks like he shouldn't be in the positions he's been in. But you're totally right. When he's back there in the pocket and has time and some receivers who can get into some space, he's accurate. He's really accurate, and he has a lot of throwing power behind those throws. I'm surprised he hasn't kind of he didn't look like he lost any power at all with that injury.
I would say on the flip side, I think I'm with you, Will. I'm completely ready to walk back. I'm pretty confident we're going to beat Clemson. That team did not take that. I think sometimes we get into ideas where we think continuity automatically means a team will take a step. I try to get out of that, but I definitely fell for it this year with Clemson. These guys don't look all that different than they did last year. It didn't look good.
Is trash.
It looks bad. Klubnik I thought he would take a step. He looks the exact same, if not worse, than he did last year. I don't think that team's all that impressive. I mean, 10 points in your home, that offense just looked a mess, like you said, Will. It looked bad.
I picked LSU in this game. Really glad that I didn't want to pick LSU in this game, obviously, but I did think they would win. I think that Newsmeyer was going to have a better showing in this first game, in this after the experience that they've both gotten to have. He just seems better suited for these big game situations going up against tough defenses, right? Which that defense in that first half, that Clemson defense, in the plays they got it together and they had the right calls. They were clearly have the athletes to go and get stops. But shout out to Florida State getting the what do you call that? The tie
Upset.
break there. The tie break because we needed one of those two teams to get a win against the SEC.
Yeah,
And
SEC.
thankfully, shout out Florida State and Castellanos. I mean, and that offense, if that O line can look good like it did, he's going to be able to cut up against most teams. I don't think that his arm is really good enough. But at the same time, he's got the power. He just doesn't really have the accuracy. He's finally showing that through the experience, he knows that when the play is breaking down, he can go get positive yards every time. That's how you win football games. I thought that was notable, just the way that he kind of seemed to have a feel for every single play and what he needed to try to do. He was doing it out there, which that's impressive going up against an Alabama defense. Granted, that Alabama defense did not look.
Yeah, well, they swore, and that was the thing. Preseason was every report was saying this is going to be a Saban-esque defense. It's going to be one of their best defenses. And that Florida State O-line, like you said, they were knocking them off the line of scrimmage every time that ball got snapped. So who knows, man?
Anything else, Will? Other teams?
Yeah.
SEC?
So, Trevor, were you about to say something? Because I heard you.
I was just going to throw in there just a couple of things that also maybe you may bring them up, but I didn't get to watch the Michigan game. But from hindsight, it looked like they did not have their best week one. I did watch the kid from UCLA that went from Tennessee, and Tennessee may have saved a bullet on that one. That kid looked like shit against.
Yeah, he sucked.
Yeah, he did not look good at all. That was money not well spent there. Maybe he'll improve. I don't know. And the other one, I guess, the third thing, and maybe Will could bring this up because I think this was one of his bets. He sent us on our little personal thread again, reveal the curtain there a little bit. Was IU looked like they struggled. I didn't get to watch the game. I didn't listen to it on the radio like I have in the past, but they look like they did not have their best performances against Old Dominion too. Just from looking at it from a hindsight, look, breaking it down from statistically without actually watching it, who knows how the game actually went. But just those things kind of stuck out as well to me. No upsets, like I said, but some teams that maybe we didn't expect to maybe struggle did. Georgia too. I mean, Georgia didn't look like they looked as dominant as they usually did. Will, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So one team, it's pertinent to us. They didn't cover. They lost, obviously, because they didn't cover. It's Virginia Tech. I actually thought they looked super legit, at least on defense, against South Carolina.
That's what Abelson said.
So they were really good at the line of scrimmage. They opened up running lanes. Kyron Drones was still able to run pretty well. If he could complete a pass beyond the line of scrimmage, they'd be damn good. But
if he could,
garbage.
If he could,
trash.
I told you, Will.
No, you're right.
You knew. You weren't denying it. You weren't denying it.
Yeah,
but
he's still a threat just against us in specific because he can run the ball so well. But I think I saw a stat. He was 1 for 13 on pass completions in South Carolina territory with a pick to boot. So once they got past midfield, he couldn't do anything. But their defense kept him alive for so long, and then that punt return touchdown kind of broke the camel's back. But they could be good. They could be disruptive against us. They could run the ball well against us. I think Virginia Tech might be a little bit better than I gave them credit for initially. I thought they would go 6-6. I ultimately still think they will, just because Brent Pry's their coach. But they have the ability, personnel-wise, to be decent. Beyond that, I did have Miami beating Notre Dame. I made that bet, but Carson Beck played well, but they needed 3 turnovers to win the game against a redshirt freshman in his first start for Notre Dame. And Jeremiah Love only had 59 rushing yards. I don't think they looked super impressive in doing that, mainly because Mario Cristobal and Corey Heatherman, the new defensive coordinator, they got super conservative late in the game in the entire fourth quarter, and that's kind of Cristobal's MO, is to choke. And they did, but they got bailed out by that stupid-ass pick on the screenplay in the fourth quarter, and then were able to drive down and get a field goal to win the game. So Notre Dame, I think they're still going to be really good and in the mix. Miami will be in the mix. They're going to be a super challenging game or opponent for us, but I would say don't buy into their hype too much just yet. And the last one I want to talk about is Florida State.
The last one.
Were you about to say something, Trevor? Okay. One thing about Mike Norvell, I didn't really think about this until I was watching that game. Florida State really just kicked Alabama's ass. And last season, when Florida State went 2-10, I'm trying to compare that to how they were in 2023. And the difference to me was only the quarterback situation. Last year, they had DJ Uiagalelei. They had a trash can at backup quarterback, the guy that we played in the bowl or in the ACC championship, who couldn't do anything.
Didn't the
So they
defense
were-
look good for them in the beginning of the season last year until they kind of gave up? Or am I?
I mean,
making
it
that
was
up?
fine. They
Yeah.
held Georgia Tech to 23 points. They stopped their run at a decent clip, but it's like once they were down, they were dead.
Yeah.
But in 2023, when you had Jordan Travis under center, and he was a guy that could throw the ball, but he made so many plays outside the pocket, whether that was throwing on the run or just running himself, that really is when Mike Norvell was in his bag. And now they have Thomas Castellanos. He was untackleable against Alabama. He only completed 9 passes, but I think it was for like 150-something yards. He had 78 rushing yards.
He
but
looked like the most athletic guy on the field.
yeah, and it wasn't even the fact of him getting all the yards. It was that it just completely demolished Alabama's defense. They couldn't stop him whatsoever, and that opened up running plays. I mean, Jalen Lucas, the transfer from IU last season, he actually finally showed up and played a really good game for them. And then their defense, they were teeing off all game. They had 3 sacks, 7 TFLs. Ty Simpson, I thought, actually looked pretty good for Alabama, but his offensive line was getting shit on every snap, so he was having to run for his life. And I think he did about as well as he could. I don't think Alabama's a bad team. That's probably what some people are trying to take away from this. But Florida State is now back to their bread and butter, which is having a really good defensive line that can rush the passer, but also a quarterback that can put the defense in conflict every time he's on the field. And that allows for Florida State's offense to be what it is. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoff, but they're going to be a lot better than even I was.
Potential
giving
dark
them credit
horse.
for.
Yeah, potential
For
dark
sure.
horse now for me.
So that's my main takeaway. Clemson sucks.
So that's my main takeaway. Clemson sucks. That's it.
I was gonna say that's one thing. I listen. I'm not a Mike Norvell fan, and I think that's proven this year because, like you just said, he's only good when he has a good quarterback. That doesn't make you a good coach. Your good coaches can still win with Jack Plummer at quarterback. Okay, you know, DJ Uga sucked anyway. He was a horrible coach. He was a horrible quarterback, and you saw what they went 2-10. He rode Jordan Travis. He rode Jordan Travis literally to death. I mean, the poor kid left with like no ACLs left in his knees, thanks to all the carrying he had to do with Mark Norvell. And yeah, the Virginia kid who is a good college quarterback at least. Because they're gonna have talent at Florida State. They're always gonna have talent. Alabama's got talent, and if you're getting blown out like that in your Alabama, then that's coaching. That is 100% coaching. No different than my rant about Nebraska, because that team is loaded with talent. I promise you, they've got 4 and 5 stars out their ass. You know, they've got, but if you're barely beating Satterfield and you're getting blown out by Mike Norvell, even with a good quarterback, that's coaching. And those schools, especially Alabama, they ain't gonna play with that shit though. The board might want to be looking at moving out of there quick. God, Mike Penix, is he gonna send him a fruit basket? Because I mean, clearly Mike Penix got him the Nebraska job. What can Mike Penix not?
Well, you're talking about Kalen DeBoer at Alabama.
Kalen DeBoer, Mike Penix not only makes Indiana win the Big Ten for the first time ever. That's how good he is. He gets Washington to a national title game, and now he gets DeBoer a coaching job at Alabama. I mean, and I'm a Falcons fan. Not that there are really any true ones out there. I'm excited, maybe.
Well,
speaking of the NFL, we've got a big player on the move. I've seen it be called the biggest move in NFL history. Micah Parsons to the Packers.
Well, I love the hyperbolic gestures of your generation, dude. I love it.
Micah Parsons to the Packers, highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history.
this is a.
Okay. I'll go real quick. Just I did this for a reason. You know, I mentioned the Reggie White. My Packer fan friends that I have, I laugh at the hyperbolic being the biggest trade ever because I don't think it's that. But I mean, it is an impact move, and to more reference it to something maybe more your age group, it's going to remind me a lot of when the Bears got Khalil Mack that first year. the impact he'll have on that defense. Now, past year one, we'll see, but I think his impact on that defense in year one is going to be humongous. It's the biggest Packers signing they've had since they got Reggie White, Reggie White and Parsons are just they're defensive guys, and there's not many of them out there in the league. I mean, I think the defensive tackles, Jordan Davis, and the Eagles have can maybe be up there at some point, but there are few guys that just can change an entire game on the defensive side, and Reggie White was one of them. Still the record for sacks at Super Bowl. One of helped win a Super Bowl with Green Bay, and I think Parsons is the other. Mac could have been if he could stay healthy. He just got older and some things went on, but I think that's the impact he'll have. I think it's huge. The Packers maybe win that division this year because of it. I mean, I hope Rutherford's not watching. I doubt it, but the Lions are a good team still. But that's the type of move that just changes 3 or 4 games in a season, and that's 3 or 4 games in an NFL season is a difference between maybe not making the playoffs and being in the Super Bowl. And I think that's the kind of impact he'll have, at least in this year one. Plus, I love the video of him when he heard the news. Everything in his house is already packed. Like, you can't tell me this dude wasn't expected to get traded. I mean, he had not one. The pool was drained. He had everything boxed up. That dude was 1 foot out the door before his agent even said the trade's been made. But if you're a Packer fan, you are excited right now. You have to be. Best signing you've had in 30
The only
years.
thing I want to say about it is that this is kind of similar, at least in my mind, to the Rams in 2021, where they gave up their immediate draft capital in the future for a difference-making player to make a Super Bowl run. And the Rams gave up picks. They said fuck them picks for Matt Stafford, and they won a Super Bowl. I don't know if their offense is good enough, whether Jordan Love is good enough. I do like him, but he is a bit too turnover prone. So we'll see how that goes. And Micah Parsons now has to take those injections to be able to play.
Yeah.
I just literally read a tweet that said the Packers were not totally aware of a Micah Parsons facet joint sprain on his L4/L5 vertebrae when they passed him through his physical, approving the trade with Dallas. If Parsons plays for the Packers in 2025, he will need regular epidurals, according to doctors. So if he's going to need injections to be able to play for this entire season, that could be a potential factor in this whole thing. I do think the Packers are good enough now to be a true Super Bowl contending team, and he's going to just transform that defense. They lost Kenny Clark at D tackle, but it is what it is. They're set to maybe win the NFC North, which is possibly the toughest division in football. So
I think it is. What do you think, KJ?
I think
I do love the fact, and this is
No,
I'm
go ahead.
gonna play boomer moment here a little bit. You said something that triggered me. Was that like they gave up so much capital? They gave up 2 first-round picks. And it's a lot to give up, I guess, to it in a degree. But the history of teams giving up 2 first-round picks in trades is longer than what Roman's got between his legs, probably. I mean, the Cowboys alone have done it multiple. I mean, the Cowboys once gave up 2 first-round picks for Roy Williams, the wide receiver. I mean, they once gave up 2 first-round picks for Joey Galloway, who you get to watch on TV now from Seattle. The Raiders once got 2 first-round picks for a coach in John Gruden in a trade. I mean, if you're the Packers, I loved how people on Twitter were comparing it to Herschel Walker, which not even in the same ball. I'm going to steal my Pulp Fiction line. Ain't the same ballpark, ain't the same league, ain't the same fucking sport. Okay, those two are not even close to each other. That was a weird trade in a time Herschel Walker, by the way, was a little bit past his prime, and people forget that in hindsight. And second, I mean, this is also the Cowboys who once gave up the number 1 pick in the draft to take Steve Walsh in a supplemental draft. People don't forget about that. They talk about the greatness of Jimmy Johnson's trading ability. Giving up 2 first-round picks, if you're the Packers, for this is an easy deal. I think they would have given up 3 because in hindsight, you're looking at it, these should be picks in the late 25, 30 area anyway. So who gives a fuck if you're giving up 2 of them? I mean, that's nothing. Getting 2 first-round picks for them should have been just standard. I'm surprised they didn't get more, to be honest with you. And that has to do with the injury issue because Kenny Clark's okay, but he's not worth another first-round pick.
Yeah, I think the main takeaway is that Jerry Jones is like in a real way officially lost his fucking mind. That's my main takeaway. You pay this guy, I think it doesn't matter. I think the picks don't matter. From the Packers' perspective, if you can get Micah Parsons, I think you do it. That corner room is unimpressive to say the least for the Packers, but I do think it is ultimately a matter of if Jordan Love takes a leap, which I believe they expect him to, then that is the best team in the NFC North. So I get it. If it is scary, if we're already talking about week one's coming up, and this dude's gonna need injections to play week one. Who knows what that looks like? But I do think outside of Myles Garrett, this is the best player on the defensive side of the ball in the sport. So
Mhm.
I think it. I think they'll get to go.
Sorry, I think Melbourne's helped my audio issues. I logged back. I checked out and checked back in. I don't know if you're still hearing it. Are you hearing an echo still?
No, I think you're fine now.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't hear any echo.
I just think I had to reboot there. I'll still mute myself when I'm talking because I interrupt way too much. But I think that helped because y'all were getting really static. I couldn't really understand what KJ said that much there, and that sucks because he's so full of genius. And
Before we move on here, though, out of the weekend, I do want to let you guys know Big X Big Bets went 5-0 on Friday to take us to 40-23 for the month of August of giving out bets on the radio Monday through Friday. Thought that was super cool.
to steal a
Oh.
line from the wedding singer, information I could have used on Saturday. Okay.
Well, my only Saturday bet was Tommy Castellanos 40+ yards, I believe, rushing.
It-
Worked out.
oh,
No,
yeah.
that was my only football bet, and you probably wouldn't have bet Chelsea money line at 7:30 a.m. Saturday.
Don't underestimate the addicts that you have on this show there, buddy.
Fellas, I want to move on real quick as we gotta get out of here in the next 10 minutes or so we got to be fast with this. Based on what we just gathered in our takeaways from that performance against Eastern Kentucky, how are we feeling about JMU? What do we want to see and why, or just basic expectations? KJ, we'll start with you. Or no, let's start with you. What do you want to see going into the JMU game? Basic kind of expectations, and maybe what do you want to see fixed if you have anything?
Yeah. Well, penalties is the main one. I do think that we should rely on our run game a bit more. I know that's a bit contradictory to what I said earlier about Miller Moss, but I think that we should be a run first team, probably have a 60-40 split between rushing and passing. That was about 50-50 against EKU, and usually you'd think you'd be running the ball a lot more than you're throwing it. I do think that Jeff's going to lean on his run game a bit more against JMU. The other thing is, I know we talked about it a couple different times, the quarterback situation with JMU. Alonzo Barnett started in week one for them and only had 130 passing yards and a touchdown, but Matthew Sluka, the UNLV transfer that was talked about a ton nationally when he left UNLV, he went 3 of 4 for 15 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. He did have 30 rushing yards on 6 carries, so he played a little bit, but that was mainly in garbage time. Alonzo Barnett, it seems, is the starter. So now we're not going to have to worry about a guy that's going to be a run-first quarterback that would potentially be a danger to us. I will say, to Ron English's credit, there was a 3rd and long that EKU converted on a quarterback draw in the first half, and they tried to do it again in the second half.
He was blocked perfectly on that one that he converted. That was their first down of the game. Yeah,
because we blitzed and overran the entire play, which is one thing that our defenses typically do against running quarterbacks, is we overrun the pocket, he gets out. And they tried that same play on a 3rd and down or 3rd and long later in the game, and we completely boxed it up. There was no running lanes there, and he got tackled in the box or at the line of scrimmage. So hopefully that's a good sign of adjustments and things to come against running quarterbacks. We're not going to have to worry about it too much against Barnett. So I'm going to go with my original prediction, 34-17 over JMU. They'll give us some issues because Barnett's a good quarterback. George Pettaway, the running back, is really good. So it's not going to be we're just dog walking them, but I think we'll win handily.
KJ?
Yeah, I think ultimately we'll get pushed a little bit, but I think offensively our weaponry is just going to be way too much for them to stop and handle. And if they were to make this really something truly competitive, I think it would need to be a 2017 win, something like that for them, because they want to run the football, especially starting Alante Bear tells me that. And I think they had it was over 300 rushing yards against Weber State, which that's Weber State. But that tells me they want to keep the ball on the ground. I don't think they're going to be able to slow down our offense in the capacity they would need to for this to really make us sweat. So I think we should win pretty handily. I'd say 37-20, something in
What do
that
you think,
range.
Trevor?
I will say we apologize to Damian Lillard and Weber State because, yes, JMU did whoop their ass. I was with Will. I was kind of surprised that we didn't see as much Sluka as we did see Barnett coming off that knee injury. I knew me and him both kind of knew he started, but we also, he tore his ACL, I think, was the second to last week of the season last year. So him to be back this quick is, but again, it's Weber State. I mean, no disrespect to, Don Reed and that company. It's another basketball name for you. I name a football guy for him, but fuck, who knows? So that said, I think we'll see more Sluka next week. I think than we saw this week against Louisville. I think Barnett, it may not be 100%, and he doesn't have to be to look good against Weber State, but he would have to be to look good against us at a different level. As KJ pointed out, they had over 300 yards rushing. That's their MO. That's what they want to do. That's who they are in general. We kind of knew that going into the game. I don't know how many times I'm going to call Alonzo because he has to put that A at the end of his name instead of an O. I'm going to fuck that up on a regular basis. So that's his own fault and his parents' fault. I like Louisville to win this game. We can't turn the ball over 3 times. That's not going to be able to happen. I know one was the bench, but 3 turnovers and losing that turnover battle is not going to be good. If that's the case, this game could be a lot closer than it really should be. If they don't turn the ball over, penalties even stay the same. Long story short, Louisville plays a B game or better. They'll win this game by 14 or more points, unless James Madison just comes in and plays A+. I don't remember what my original prediction was for the final score because I have short-term memory. I don't even remember what I had for dinner. I will say, though, now I'll say Louisville wins this game. I'll say I'm going to go 38 to 17. I think it's similar to kind of what you guys said a little bit. I'll go in that range, 38-17.
It's right where I'm at.
For the record, that would cover, by the way. Louisville, I think, is a 14.5 point favorite. So
started at 15.5, got bet down a point.
Yeah, so that would cover for those that have a gambling habit like we do. So I'll say 38-17 for shits and giggles. Hopefully. That's, again, cut out these turnovers, man. The turnovers kill me. And this is a team that can eat up clock, keep our defense, wear us down. As Will's pointed out, making the right angles and keeping in your gaps has been a problem for Ron English teams in the past. You can't have those fuck-ups against this team because they will be disciplined. Pettaway is a good running back, and their quarterbacks know how to abuse you. So,
yeah, for sure.
We can't be fucking around is what I'm saying.
I'm kind of right there with you guys. Like, I'm on the 38-point side like Trevor, but I think they'll score 20 points, kind of like KJ thinks. I do think that we'll probably see a little bit more Sluka just because they know how you can maybe kind of attack this Louisville team based on last year. I think that when you're running the ball that much, you're going to start seeing the defense put more defenders up there, kind of load the box a little bit more. And if you don't have a quarterback who's willing to pull that thing out and get out on his own, it's going to be hard for you to get upfield if you're not willing to throw the ball a lot. So I do think we kind of hold this offense together, but I also think this is going to be the first time the secondary really, really gets tested. They're able to move the ball a little bit just because the Alonzo kid can kind of throw it a little bit. But I don't think he's good enough to really come put a lot of damage on us. I think we kind of force some turnovers in the game because we put them in situations where they have to put the ball in the air more than we want them to because we're not allowing that run. We didn't allow a lot of running backs last year to cut up on us. We kind of stuffed the run a good EKU. I mean, they had a couple 5, 6, 7 yard runs, I feel like. But outside of that, they were not really getting anything. We were prepared for it, and I think that's going to continue on. I think it kind of starts off like it's like a 38-14 kind of a game for a while, or 31-14 for a while, and then we kind of slow things down a bit. Then maybe they get that later score and field goal or so. So that's where I'm at.
For the record, EKU rushed for 1.9 yards per carry. So Roman's right; they didn't get shit.
I'm amazed they even had that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The quarterback draw on that third down was.
In my head, I'm seeing like. I can see like 1 or 2 like 5-yard rushes from the number 14 back. He was pretty big. Like he fell and got 2 yards, but I just feel like I couldn't. In my head, I didn't see like anything longer than like a 5-yard run.
Yeah.
Now to be fair, if you look at the JMU game and statistically, they did the same thing to Weber. I think Weber had averaged like around 2 yards a carry too. So I mean, they handled their business the way we handled it, and maybe they both held back because like we did. I mean, Barnett's QB rating was better than Miller Moss's was. I mean, he had a 92 QBR. Moss was like an 89. So,
but that was with 2 picks from Moss, and Barnett
true,
had none.
Yeah,
so.
and Barnett, he had 1 touchdown throw and I think 1 touchdown run. I don't know if he ran. I know he had at least 1 pass, and he threw. I think it's like 24 times or something, which is a lot probably for for JMU standards. If you go back and look at their stats last year and what they do, so yeah, it'll be. I think it'll be. Friday. It's again. We talk about short game Friday night. I mean, the place should be rocking. So I would love to see if I'm going to have like one like kind of ballsy proclamation. I say, I would have been going into last week if I was going to be right about it. Would have been Colin Lacey gets a punt return touchdown. I'm not going to say it for this one and try to piggyback on it. But I say our defense scores at least one touchdown this week. I think we get
love to see that.
That's going to be kind of my bold prediction for this week, other than us winning by 21, is that I think our defense does score. Now, whether it's early or late in the game, who knows? But I think the defense gets in the end zone.
I want to see that really, really deep Chris Bell completion too. I want that 40, 50-yard completion. You know what I mean?
I think
in the end zone.
In the end zone,
ideally. Maybe. Probably.
That's more of a huge thing.
Fellas, quick program note before we get out of here. We will be starting a Real Spiel post-game show officially this week. Post-game right after James Madison, Trevor Kelsey.
Give me about 30 minutes after Brom's done talking. I want to watch the Brom post-game.
Yeah, we don't want to compete with Paul Rodgers and Jeff Brom and stuff.
Yeah, so about 30 minutes after Brom's post-game. I was going to do it this weekend. I know I lied. I'm sorry. But I was going to do it, but technology is a little bit. I'm a boomer. What can I say? Look at the gray hair. But me and Roman met up earlier today, not in person because he's too busy for that. And I think we got it down. So Friday night, who wants to spend Friday night with me, people? Come on. I mean, look at this. Who wouldn't want to spend their Friday night hanging out with this? I mean.
Yeah, so we're going to get Trevor live Friday night for the post-game reaction, post-game breakdown. Might have a couple of us join up, maybe in and out. Give us all a little 10-minute slot to come in with Trevor and get one-on-ones with him, maybe even. So we'll figure that out, but we definitely will be live Friday night.
Are you guys going to the game on Friday night as well?
Can't have a rehearsal dinner for a wedding, but I'm going to be in on Saturday.
It's my plan, too.
Yeah.
You got a rehearsal dinner too, KJ?
No, I'm planning to be at the game, though.
Roman, are you going? Are you got media again?
I should have media again, yeah.
Yeah, it's not hard. Jesus Christ, I could still get media if I wanted to. The love thing about the Louisville press box is it holds like 500 people, so they'll give media to literally anybody. Which God love you, Josh Hurd and company, or whoever's doing it now. Will, was this the one? Is this the wedding for the boring ass bachelor party that they had?
Wasn't boring, but yes, it is.
Roman, you missed it, man. Boringest bachelor party ever. I mean, the wedding. I bet it's not even going to be an open bar, is it?
Oh no, it is.
Oh really? Well, they got to make up for the back. Okay, that's good. I mean, you don't have open bar. Don't be those cheap motherfuckers that do a cash bar to wedding.
Trevor, we have 860 listeners. It might be the person who hosted this party. Don't
good.
That.
He's good. He needs to listen to this. This is criticism. Take the advice. Write it down. Your next wedding, your next bachelor party, live it up a little better, buddy.
Your next
he lived it up. He lived it up.
But, all right, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. 860 of you all in here right now on X. I appreciate you guys so much tuning in, listening to us here late night hours, leading into the second day of the month here. KJ, Will, Trevor, thank you all so much co-hosting the show as brilliantly as all you always do. Gosh, can't speak here tonight. But anything else that we missed? I don't believe so. I think we covered just about everything we were going to get into.
Real quick, I want to acknowledge I did see Arch Manning was really bad. I think we should just acknowledge that real quick.
We're not arching our backs no more.
Yeah.
It's funny. I read something a few years ago where somebody was bashed about talking about how he's overrated in high school, like his junior year. And people were like, oh, you're a hater. You know how everybody does. There's some truth to, I mean, maybe we just got caught up too much in the Manning. I mean, let's not forget, this isn't Eli and Peyton's kid. This is Cooper's. Okay?
The one who didn't make it to the NFL.
Yeah, we can't forget about this is Cooper's kid. All right, we I think we all kind of forgot about that. Plus, I mean, if you're not taking your queer's job or whatever his name is, after 2 years, I mean, maybe there is a problem there. So
we'll be back next week. We'll be back this week. Real Spiel post game. We'll be back next Sunday or Monday, depending on how things align. But thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, share this. Send this out to your mother. Send this out to your father. Let your brother and sister know we went live last night when you see him tomorrow. Happy Labor Day. Thank you all so much for listening. This is going to wrap us up here on the Real Spill Live Show. We'll be back.